I honestly think GTA 6 could end up having the most grounded and immersive story Rockstar has ever done in this franchise. And there are a few details pointing directly to this. Now, I know that could sound crazy to say about a Grand Theft Auto game, because this is still going to be a game with robberies, police chases, shootouts, insane side characters, and all the usual Rockstar weirdness and chaos. But when we look at Jason and Lucia, what stands out to me, they do not feel like larger than life criminals right away. They feel like two regular people who have already had a rough life, who want something better, and who are about to get pulled way deeper into something bigger than themselves. Jason and Lucia know the deck is stacked against them, an easy score goes wrong, and suddenly they are stuck in a conspiracy stretching across all of Leonida. This is a very different feeling from just starting at the top and trying to build an empire. When we look at everything we know from the characters, it gets even more interesting. Jason is not being introduced as some polished mastermind. Rockstar says he grew up around grifters and crooks, tried to straighten out through the army, and still ended up back in the Keys working for local drug runners. Lucia is not introduced as some cartoon style criminal either. She landed in prison because she was fighting for her family, got out through luck, and now wants the good life her mother dreamed about. So right there, both of them already feel more grounded than a lot of GTA protagonists at first glance. Because their whole setup is not look how crazy and powerful these people are or are going to become. It's more like look how hard life has already been on them. And this is one of the main reasons I think this story might hit differently from a lot of past GTA stories. Take Vice City. Rockstar literally describes that game as one man's rise to the top of the criminal pile. That story is amazing, but Tommy Vercetti's whole energy is power, revenge, ambition, and taking over. It is larger than life on purpose. Then you've got San Andreas, where CJ returns home after his mother's murder, gets framed by corrupt cops, and is forced into a statewide journey to save his family and take control of his streets. That story is more personal for sure, but it still grows into something huge and a bit mythic. Then there's GTA 4, which for a lot of people is still the benchmark for Rockstar's most grounded GTA story. Niko Bellic is an Eastern European war veteran trying to escape his past, chasing the American dream, only to find out it is basically a lie. Even the broader write-up around GTA 4 notes that it marked a shift towards a more realistic and detailed tone for the series. So if GTA 6 ends up being the most grounded one, I actually think the real game it has to beat in terms of story is not GTA 5, it is GTA 4. Now, when you compare all of that to GTA 5, which is intentionally a much bigger, louder, and more chaotic narrative, GTA 5 is framed as a story of three very different criminals, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, trying to survive modern Los Santos, with high corrupt government pressure and huge personalities pushing everything forward. Now, that game is great, but it is built on contrast, spectacle, and escalation. Jason and Lucia, at least so far, feel much more connected to each other than Grand Theft Auto 5's trio ever did. And that alone could make GTA 6 feel more intimate from the start. That is also why the Bonnie and Clyde style comparison that a lot of people make makes sense as well, but maybe not in the way people usually say it. I do not think the most interesting part of that comparison is just a couple that does crime together. I think the important part is that a relationship like that instantly makes everything feel more personal. Having two leads with a close romantic bond could raise the stakes in a way GTA 5 structure did not, because now there is somebody each character directly cares about and depends on. The trailers seem to depict this in this way too, a story built less around outrageous caricatures and more around two people who actually feel believable together. Their actions feel like they will hold more weight when the impact is greater than themselves. Now, where I think this gets really interesting is the police angle in the story that we've seen so far. Because if you remember in trailer 2, it gives us a couple of things that to me do not feel random at all. First, you have Brian warning Jason that they got your name, your address, they got everything. Then right after that, you have the cop that seems to be a big character in the story. And he says, us cops, we got to protect each other. Now, on its own, that could mean a lot of different things, but when you put those ideas next to each other, surveillance, heat closing in, and cops openly talking about protecting their own, it starts to sound a lot less like normal law enforcement pressure and a lot more like a corrupt system covering for itself. So my theory is this: I do think there's a very good chance that some of the cops in GTA 6 are tied to something dirty and that Jason and Lucia end up caught in the middle of it. Maybe they witness something they're not supposed to, maybe they get used as disposable pieces in a bigger operation, or maybe they get blamed for something that protects people higher up. I would not state that as fact yet because Rockstar has not confirmed anything, as you guys know, but based on the trailer, I absolutely think law enforcement in this story is going to be more than just background opposition. I think it is going to be a big part of the machine pulling the strings. I think Raul Batista could fit into that corruption angle too, potentially. He's not just described as some random criminal, they describe him as a seasoned bank robber who's always looking for talent, and they also make a point to say his recklessness raises the stakes with every score. When Jason and Lucia get involved with Raul, then it makes a lot of sense that one of his jobs could spiral into something way bigger than just a robbery gone wrong. I think there's a very real possibility that some of these cops are connected to criminals like Raul somehow. Maybe they protect him, maybe they work with him, maybe they help bury something after one of his scores goes bad. Either way, Raul feels like the kind of character who could sit right in the middle of that link between street crime and official corruption. And to me, that's what makes that theory feel even more believable, is that Rockstar has done versions of this before. Like I said before, in San Andreas, corrupt cops literally frame CJ for homicide. In GTA 5, the protagonists are pushed around by a corrupt federal agent while trying to survive bigger criminal players. So Rockstar going back to corruption, betrayal, and official power being just as dirty as the street criminals would not be new at all. What would be new is doing it through two protagonists who seem much more vulnerable and much more emotionally tied together than what we usually get in GTA. And those are the big reasons I think GTA 6 could be special story-wise, especially compared to the other titles and the narratives in the franchise. Not because it's going to abandon the crime or the satire or the wild moments that we're used to for Rockstar. It obviously will not. This is still GTA after all, but for the first time in a long time, the center of the story seems like it could be two people who feel almost normal by Rockstar standards. Not normal in the sense that they are not innocent, because they clearly are not, but normal in the sense they feel like people first, criminals second, people with history, people with baggage, people with a relationship that might actually matter more than the money. And if Rockstar really leans into that, then GTA 6 might end up feeling like a mix of the best parts of earlier games. It could have the intimacy and grounded tone people loved about GTA 4, some of the corrupt cop pressure and personal stakes of San Andreas, and still keep the modern scale and production value that GTA 5 brought to the series. That is why I think this story has a chance to be the most immersive one yet. Not because the world will just be bigger, but because the people in it might finally feel smaller, closer, and more real. And honestly, if Rockstar goes this route, then Lucia and Jason will not just be another pair of GTA protagonists, they might end up being the most believable duo this franchise has ever had. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, as this is the best way to help me and the channel grow, and subscribe for all things Grand Theft Auto. I would love to have you in the community. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and as always, stay happy, stay hype, and have a beautiful day.